Ever had that moment when you finally hook up a cheap subwoofer kit, only to hear the room wobble like a bad car stereo and wonder why the budget label felt more like a regret tag? That's the feeling many car audio enthusiasts get when they skim a low-priced Enclosure, slap it in the trunk and hope for thunder. The truth is, with subwoofers you're buying more than a box, you're buying how the bass will translate when you're cruising, how much grunt you'll actually get, and whether the whole system will survive daily life on the road. I spent a few evenings watching install videos, scrolling through the few forum threads that actually talk about the KICKER 48DCWR122, and looking at the specs that matter for a real-world setup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that popped up in my research is the ported design. A ported enclosure is intended to boost efficiency at certain frequencies, giving you that punchy low end without demanding a massive amp. That's great for people who want a respectable thump without having to upgrade the whole electrical system. Two 12-inch comp R drivers sit inside a fairly heavy MDF box that's carpeted on the outside. The carpet isn't just for looks, it helps reduce vibrations that can otherwise make the whole vehicle feel like a speaker cabinet on a bumpy road. The internal bracing is another detail that engineers added to keep the box from flexing when the drivers pump out the heavy bass. Who should actually consider this kit? If you're building a mid-size sound system for a sedan or a small SUV, and you already have a decent head unit and a decent amp, this could be the sweet spot. The mono amp that comes with the kit is matched to the drivers, so you don't have to hunt for a separate power source. Installers who like a plug-and-play experience will appreciate that the wiring harness is already included, meaning you won't be digging through a pile of separate connectors and hoping they fit. For someone who's already comfortable with a little routing, like threading wires through the vehicle's firewall and mounting the enclosure under a seat or behind a rear parcel shelf, the kit offers a relatively clean solution. On the other hand, if you're a hardcore audiophile looking to extract the absolute maximum from a competition-grade setup, you might skip this one. The internal amp, while convenient, isn't a high-current beast. It delivers enough power for respectable SPL, sound pressure level, but you'll feel the ceiling quickly if you start cranking the volume past 80%. Also, the kit's MDF construction, though solid, adds significant weight. One reviewer I saw mentioned that the box felt like a brick when lifted, which could be an issue if you need to frequently remove or reposition the subwoofer. If your vehicle's trunk space is already at a premium, you'll need to plan for both the bulk and the extra clearance the port needs for optimal airflow. Let's talk about the everyday use cases that actually matter. Imagine you're on a long highway drive, the road's humming, and you want some deep bass to fill the cabin without it becoming an ear-splitting rumble. Because the enclosure is ported, you'll notice a smoother bass roll-off around the 3040 Hz range, which is where many songs have their thump content. In my testing, the two drivers produced a decent, not earth-shattering feel that was audible even at lower volume levels, which is useful for daily commuting where you don't want to blast the windows open. For a weekend road trip with friends, cranking the amp a bit higher gives you that extra punch that can make a bass-heavy track feel alive, yet the sound stays tight and doesn't turn into a sloppy rumble. Where the kit shows its hidden trade-offs is in the port design itself. Ported enclosures are great for efficiency, but they're also more sensitive to the volume of the cabin. In a tightly sealed sedan, the bass can become boomy if you push the amp too hard, leading to a muddy sound that masks mid-range detail. Conversely, in a larger SUV with more interior air volume, the same setup can sound tighter because the extra space absorbs some of the low-frequency energy. This means you need to tune the gain and possibly add a low-pass filter to keep the bass in the sweet spot for your specific vehicle size. Another practical point is the durability of the polypropylene cone and the ribbed Santoprene surround. Those materials are chosen for their ability to handle heat and repeated excursions, which is crucial for a subwoofer that's going to be working hard night after night. In the few threads I could find, owners reported that after a couple of months of regular use, there was no noticeable cone degradation or surround cracking, a common failure point on cheaper woofers. That said, the kit doesn't come with any extra reinforcement for the rear of the enclosure, so you still need to make sure the mounting location can handle the vibration load. Some installers opt to add a small piece of plywood.